Oh my gosh. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to Be So Light. I'm Priestess Makala, as well as Niana, as well as Felicia. You pick and choose. It's the same person. Ah. So let's talk about something. And this is going to be one of those talks where I'm trying to get you to pay attention for what is energetically going to be taking place for this new moon on Sunday. There's a lot of work between today and tomorrow that you need to be doing to get ready to really, really plant those seeds of intention of what you're cultivating for the spring. So let's talk about something. Okay. Might want to grab a little tea, a little something, something to drink. Let's talk. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Do you have car karma? Car karma. And the way you know you have car karma is, or let's just put it this way, you have a contract with cars where you get cars, they don't last long, they break down on you all the time. Something always goes wrong with you in the cars. Okay? Doesn't matter. So I remember back in the day when I was always getting cars to get me from A to B. What is that like when you're trying to get a car that's just getting you from A to B? What's that about? Because if you're just getting a car to get you from A to B, that's showing you limitations. That's showing you lack. That is putting you in a place of only manifesting a car to get you from A to B, because you'll even find yourself saying, this car only gets me from A to B, you know. And what happens after the car does A and B, it see you in a lot of debt. So I'm here to teach you today about what's your vibration like when when you're out there getting a car and you're looking for a vehicle. Now, my last two vehicles were utterly magic, straight up magic. And what I mean by that is it was divine magic connection, which means my cars were given to me by my beloved ancestors or elders on the other side. It had this whole source God light around it. Okay. Where you dream about the car, you feel yourself behind the wheel of the car, and then the next day you see that car that you dreamt about on the car lot. And it matches up synchronicity of what happened in the dream. Okay. So my previous cars, when I first got a car, I will never forget this. I went to a car lot in Vallejo after I think it was I had already graduated from high school, and it was like I was practicing how to drive a car. My parents were really protective of me driving a car, but didn't waste no time letting my brother drive one. You know, so I guess because I was the girl, need to take time. I don't know, old beliefs. So I remember going on a car lot, and I remember it was Avery Green car lot. I don't know if they're still around, but my parents had already bought a car there, and I was going there to go get my first car. And I just remember not knowing what kind of car I want. I needed a car that would get me back and forth to school because I was going to go to college. And I just remember getting this. How many of you remember the car called Colt? COLT, Colt. It was a Colt. It was a Colt Plymouth. I think it was a Plymouth. Wait, I'm trying to think. Wasn't a Datsun. It was Colt. And it was brown. It almost looked like a Pinto, but it wasn't a Pinto. And I just remember when I got that car, I was all excited. It had a few little glitches and stuff. And I was getting from A to B, going to school. And then one day, that car engine blew up. And it was 6 months after I got the car. So when we tried to take the car back to get it fixed, the guy who sold me the car had left. He went on a trip to Hawaii. He never came back, and they didn't want to fix the car. It was a lemon deal. And I just remember saying to myself, why did I get this lemon deal? Now I'm teaching you something here. So pay attention. Those of you that get yourself lined up with those A to B cars. Okay. So I had to get another vehicle, and I'll never forget this. It was a step up from the Colt, but I still owed money on that Colt. So here I am trying to go to college. I got the this deadbeat car that's not running. It had a blown head gasket sitting out on the side of the road in front of my mom and dad's house, just sitting there. Couldn't drive it, couldn't do anything with it. And then I had to go get another car that was a blue Mitsubishi Mirage. I love that car. And when I got that car, I remember I had to go to Concord. And we went to Concord and met this wise old man who'd been selling cars forever. And it was kind of strange because I remember when we went, he was talking to my dad, and they hit it off because they were in the military. This is the second time this has happened with my dad. Um, when I go and do something with a car, and whoever the seller is, they have military um, chat. And, so they started doing their military chat. And I just remember he came up to me, he looked at me, he goes, "What are you going to school for?" I said, "Well, I love science. I love how the body works. And I just want to study more about how the body works. And I'm thinking about, I'm going to finish up, I'm going into nursing." He goes, "Well, we need to make sure you get a good car that can travel you around from place to place." I said, "Yes." And this blue Mitsubishi Mirage hatchback, I fell in love with that car. It was the perfect car, perfect everything. It had good sound. It was didn't have a lot of miles on it. I was gonna get a lot of um, everything out of it. So I get this car. He signs it, gets me in a good deal. I'm able to afford the car payments on that, as well as taking care of the other one to hurry up and get that paid off as quickly as I could. Okay. And at that time, I was working as a nursing assistant. And they don't pay squat in nursing assistant. You work your butt off, all those patient loads, and they don't pay you worth anything in nursing assistant. So, but I was working it. I was doing that, and I still had my entrepreneur ship of myself where I was doing like kind of like these Hallmark, my own style of Hallmark cards that I was making. And I would sell these cards with my poems on it. So I was doing that, and then I was trying to just keep money coming in so I could afford to get my nursing books when I started and everything else. Okay. So I get this car, and I just remember saying to myself, this is like a really nice car, Mitsubishi Mirage. The only problem with Mitsubishi Mirage with that car that happened, the water pump. Water pump went out on it at least 3 times. And then I finally caught on to when I was taking it to this car place to get the water pump repaired. They weren't fixing it correctly. And they were doing it where the water pump would give out in a certain amount of time, and I had to bring the car back in and pay another 200 something dollars to get the water pump fixed again, which it should have never had did that. And then I remember the third time I took my car back to that place, I said, "Look, do you know how to put a water pump on?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Would it be too much to ask that you finally fix it so it can stop breaking down? Because I'm tired of coming out here putting a water pump in to this car, and for what reason?" So when we look at a water pump on a spiritual aspect, that's like the pump, the heart, the water, the blood vessel, the heart, it's not like the battery. It's like the water pump. It's keeping the fluids moving through the vehicle, okay? So at that time, I was going through a lot of emotional stuff with school and work and, not really knowing what my future was going to be like, if I was going to make it, if I was going to be a really good nurse. And I was always self doubting myself. So every time I got in my car, I was always having these conversations with myself, driving like, "Oh, I gotta hurry up and get to school. Oh, I gotta get this schooling part done. I gotta get this done," and was constantly going, 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 going. So that energy was constantly going into the car. It was breaking the car down. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. What's your vibe like with your car? So I drove that car, and then soon, I think after a couple of years, after I got the lemon car paid off, and I sent it. Finally, I was able to get a tow truck to come and get it. Then, no, wait a minute. Hold on a second. That was a Colt. That was the second car. The very first car. I'm totally doing this backwards. Forgive me for this. Hold on a second. The car that really was sitting out on the side was a VW baby powder blue rabbit. There you go. How can I forget about that? That was the one sitting out on the side. The Colt, no, the rabbit was the one that blew the head gasket. I'm 57 now. I'm trying to get my story right. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it was the VW Rabbit. Then I got the Colt. That one didn't have the head gasket. That one lasted me so that I could get into the Mitsubishi Mirage. There we go. Got it right. So I digress. Let me go back and fill you in properly. 12 minutes later. So the VW Rabbit. If you know what a VW Rabbit looks like, remember what it looks like? It's an improvement. It's a downgrade from a Golf. Let's just put it that way. Um, so I remember when I got that car, it was simple, it was easy, it was VW. That's the one that blew the head gasket. That's the one that sat out on the side of my parents' um, garage, um, in front of their house until finally I got it paid off. Had to keep insurance on something that I wasn't driving, which was so stupid back in the day. And then I got the Colt. Then after that, drove that around, traded it in. Then I got the Mitsubishi Mirage. There we go. All the cars. This is why I'm telling you the story about the car karma. Car karma means this: you're constantly getting cars that don't last because of your thought process, what you're thinking, and what you are already telling that car is going to represent. It's just to get me from A to B. When you say that, you're automatically just going to have the energy of a car that gets you from A to B. But it's going to be nickel and diming you between A and B because sees you in a lot of debt. Okay, with that car. So, what would it take if you were to just start changing how you view yourself with your car when you go out to go pick out a car? Now, most people, when they go out to pick out a car, and if they're having a problem with cars and stuff and they're trying to get a car, they just want something that's going to get them around. You just want something, but you're not really being good to yourself when you say you just want something. You know what I'm saying? You just want something that's just going to get you around. So if you're just going to get a car that's just going to get you around, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You really are. Because you're not calling in your divine car. Your divine car from your divine source family. That's your team, your divine team. That's of the highest vibration, highest good. Will give you a vehicle that will show up, will fit your needs, and will go up and beyond the expectation of what you have. It will be a protector. It won't be just breaking down unnecessarily, causing you money. It will always be a trusted carriage or a chariot for you. It will be your trusted chariot. Okay? Your chariot. Now, your chariot has to be in balance with you for your journey of what you're down here to do. So, those of you that are going through car karma, I just remember after I did that, I had these Fords. I got an Escort, and I had a Taurus. I had a Taurus, and I had a Ford Escort. I will never buy another Ford car ever. Look at my face as I say that. Let's just put it like this. I was bold enough to go to the corporation and write a letter to the corporation of Ford and tell them what a shit ass piece of car that is. A lot of their cars, some of them, if they're the trucks, they go forever, but their cars were always crappy. And I wrote them because this car left me and my friend, the Escort. I only here we go again. Broke down in less than 4 months after I got it. Okay, it was a used car. I got it from Enterprise. So I get this car. It only had, I think, 39,000 something miles on it. Love the sound. The sound was beautiful on the car. You could play your music. It just, oh, loved the sound of it. Great car. It was a white car. It's nice. Went down to Tucson Gym Fair. We were driving. We hit that 75 zone, 80, whatever. It was really kind of weird. It just went bing, and I was like, what's that noise? And all of a sudden, the car just stopped running on the side of the highway going to Tucson. That was a nightmare trip. So I remember, thank God it was covered under warranty. That car had to get a whole new transmission because the transmission broke. Thank God it was on a warranty. Now, that's something I do have to say. They know their cars don't last very long in transmission, so they do cover you transmissions wise. But it was the fact that I had to go through all the hoops and jumps through those contracts to get them to cover that when they knew they had to cover it. So they had to repair and put a brand new transmission in that car. That car is brand new. And I remember when I had to go back, fly out to Tucson after 2 weeks later to go get the car after they finished working on it, to drive it all the way back from Tucson, Arizona, back to Sacramento. I'll never forget that. Thank God my mom and my dad were constantly with me on the phone, checking where I was, because I've never driven that far from Tucson, Arizona, all the way back to Sacramento in that car. Scared, I was scared shitless. Late at night, coming through Mojave Desert area, there were so many shadow things that I was seeing on the road that wasn't there, that was showing itself, and oh my God, I hated coming through that whole area. So that was that car karma. And then I remember when I first got my first Honda Civic and I dreamt about it. And when I dreamt about it, I was like, whoa, I dreamt I was driving this car. So same friend that I was with when we were stranded on Tucson, Tear. Tear takes me up to Auburn and I get my first Honda Civic. And it was it was a emerald like sagey green. It was a sagey green, which was kind of cool because I was really amping up in my medicine at the time. I was preparing for my future, and then I was getting ready for 2012 and all these different things going on, and I was preparing. I just really had stepped into full on medicine path. So I get this car, and it was really interesting. Here we go again. The man who was helping me get into this car, because I had to get out of the other car because it was the Ford Escort. So I was upside down and alone. But he worked it just right where I was able to pay off that 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 amount of money on that loan. And I remember saying to myself, I'm gonna pay off this and I'm gonna have this Honda, I'm gonna drive it into the ground. And then I'm gonna take it, trade it in, and get me a really nice Honda Civic. And I drove that car, paid it off, made the mistake and took it in somewhere. Where was it? Goodyear or something. After I paid it off, it wasn't covered by the bank anymore, and all the warranties and stuff were done. And I took it in there, and it had to get a gauge, a thermos gauge put on it, and they didn't do it right, and it was messing with the heating sensor in the Civic. And so I knew my time with that car was done. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, car karma. When you pick out a car now, as I was going up in my spiritual frequency, my cars had to match that. Okay, you cannot be, thank you, Spirit. You cannot be in what I call so land car. You can't be driving a Pinto and your frequency is way up here. You're gonna kill that. That car goes disintegrate. You can't be doing that. Same thing if you're getting cars that are really old cars and you think you're going to be driving around in it, your frequency is sky high, you're going to kill that car. You are like an atomic bomb going into that car of energy. You're just going to kill it. You don't want to be like that. So when I got that car paid off, and then I drove it into the ground. I remember when the thermostat thing just kept going up and down. I had them check it. They said, no, it's fine. And I said, it's a lie because it keeps going up. It keeps heating up my car. I drove that car onto a car lot and I went looking for my car. They just told me it's time to take your car in. And that car's name was Excalibur. Okay. Excalibur, it was time to take Excalibur in. I said, I don't want to get rid of Excalibur. I said, Excalibur is done driving the priestess around. Get a new one. I said, okay, fine. So I took Excalibur in, and I remember walking in the lot, and I parked it way down on the side. So if they were going to get in the car and drive it around, it wasn't going to heat up right when they were going to drive it. So they they got and tested out the car. And they never give you the price warranty, but the guys in the back are always talking about, we just got a Honda Civic in, da 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 da. Who wants to get in? They always working out some kind of deal. Somebody will get in there, fix it the right way, and then they can get another 2 years out of that car like nothing. Okay. Because I could swear I've seen my car, the car that I used to be in, driving around town. I said, there goes Excalibur. You know, maybe it's a clone. I don't know. So I went and traded that car in, got didn't even, my credit was so improved that I didn't even have to come up with a down payment on my car. I had 5 cars I could choose from, and that's how I ended up with Mystic Knight. And Mystic Knight is a knight, is like a knight. It's a knight. And it has a lot of dragon energy with it. And it's mystic. Mystic Knight is black Honda Civic, two-door coupe. And I remember when I saw that car, and they had two versions of it on the car line. I've talked about this story before. And the other car that was same model as this one, except it was a year younger or something. And it had more miles on it than this one did. But it had the purple tint glass that I wanted. But when I sat in that car, and cars have energy, this is why I'm teaching you this. It has energy. Literally, I sat in that car and I wanted to feel the vibe of it. I literally heard a voice say this, and it was the energy of the car. I am not for you. Get out. I felt like I was in Amityville. You know, hell, you ain't got to tell me twice to get out. You first get out, I'm gone. Bye. So I literally was sitting there, and the lady was sitting in the side. What do you think about this car? And I said, oh, I just love this. It's purple. It's everything I want. Blah blah blah. And then as soon as I put the key in there, I was listening, and I heard, "I'm not for you. Get out. Get out." Turn the car off. She goes, "Don't you want to test drive?" I go, "No." She goes, "Why?" It's not for me. Let's get out of this car. So the other car that was the same model was going on a test drive, and I thought for sure this guy would come buy it for his daughter. And then he changed his mind. So then she gives me a key and said, "No, that car was around on the side." He decided at the last minute he didn't want to get it. Let's go take it for a ride. I took that car for a ride. And then it was like, boom, I got in the car. I heard, "Hi." I was like, and I didn't let the lady know I could do all this or hear all this because it would have freaked her out. So she was already freaked out because I had my crystals on and I was dowsing. She was already freaked out. I don't care. It's who I am. I'm not here on this planet to pacify you. There you go, because of your fear and limitations. There you go. So your limited beliefs. There you go. So I test the car. I felt really good in the car. It spoke to me. And you know what the final part was? There was two things to it. It had 7 on it, two sevens on it. I said, that's my lucky numbers. Then it had when she went to sync my cell phone to it, the spelling of how I say my name, Makala or Michaela, however you ever want to say it, came up in the car. The person that owned the car before me, her name was Michaela. And I was like, this is my car. And then I just remember because it was soon, I think it was right after my spiritual papa had passed away in Puerto Rico. And I remember when I got in the car and I was driving it off the lot. They could not be happier. They set me up so good with this car that I took up their whole entire day. Okay. When I went to go get this car, I got there when they opened, and the lady could not wait to get rid of me because I stayed there until it was time to close. They were, they gave me such a good deal on this car. They were like, "We're just gonna give you everything so you will sign." I would go, "No, I'm not feeling that car. Show me another one." "No, I'm not feeling that car. Show me another." "Oh, this one feels good. No, I don't like those numbers. Let's go back." Yeah, it was a good deal. It's probably one of the best deals I've ever got on a car in my life. And now this car takes care of me. So car karma means this: whatever you're vibrating at is what you're gonna manifest. And if you're just getting a car just to get by, You need to change that. I mean, like ASAP. We're in new dawn, new time, new energy, new everything. You cannot have that mentality of just getting by because that's what your car will represent as this nickel and diming you as just getting by. Okay. You really have to change that mentality, thought, belief of you're getting a car for that reason. You cannot do that to yourself. You need to automatically think that your vehicle is an extension of yourself, is an extension of where you're going, what you're going to be doing. It helps you to maintain your travels and helps you to do your travels and helps you to get to where you need to be. But it's not about A, B, and C. Okay. It's about your journey and how you get there safely and return back home safely. And make sure that when you look for a car, that when you sit in it, you feel protected in it. You feel good. It gets you right here in your spirit. Pay attention to your dreams. And if you have car karma, before you go out to go get a car, break the contract and say, I no longer consent to poor running just to get by cars. I need a wonderful, stable, beautiful car that will last me for however long I need this car to last me before I decide to get another one. And it has to be on a good high vibration. It works with me well. It protects me when I'm driving. That's how you want to go out. And then when you're looking to go get a car, get pre-approved already so you're not dickling around out there with these car dealers playing these games with you emotionally, mind screwing you, trying to get it. When you already know what you're financed for, that's how I learned it. And I want to thank Sherry for teaching me that years ago. And then she taught me the art of that. She said, "Oh no, Felicia, go get pre-approved for a car before you go to the car loans because they always gonna, rob you over the grave when you go to the car place." I didn't know that. So I went ahead and followed what she told me and got pre-approved. And it was such a nice experience because then that meant, hey, if I got pre-approved for 18,000, any car that was on the lot that was 18,000, I could just go ahead and get financed for that. These are those little simple trick of the trade things that I had to learn along the way to break my car karma, to get rid of just getting a car to get by. Don't. And then when a car is done with its journey with you and you keep kind of doing the resurrection of that car, stop resurrecting that car back. That car is done with you. It's met its cycle. It's time for you to upgrade and get one that can sustain your energy so that you can keep going. Okay. So now let's talk about the second part. We talked about the car karma, how you can break it. Stop consenting to poor cars. Okay. Stop doing that. Just state it as such. Say, I'm not just automatically know you deserve the best and you are worthy of that and have that attitude and have that frequency. Period. Nothing else about that. Let's talk about money. Now, money, let's just be real here. We live in a society, a matrix designed to keep you down. The elites have it all, and the ones that are not elite like them, we have to do all the 9 to 5 crap, working 9 to 5 to stay alive, 9 to 5 to stay alive. How does Beyonce say that? 9 to 5 to stay alive. That crap. And businesses who can't afford to have their employees, they just barely crippling along, they're just trying to sustain the business, trying to keep it going with the employees, paying just enough to keep everything going. It's always just enough. Everything on this matrix, the way it's designed is just enough. It's always just enough to get by. But we don't want you to think that you're really free will do it just enough to get you by. So here's the mentality about money. It took me a long, long time to learn this. Oh my God, it took me a long time to break this, this energy about the money. And I just went through my test about money to see if I still had that same thinking pattern, and I passed with flying colors. I passed. So, money, when you have a poor relationship with it, it will show up in everything you do. It will, it will, it will be a hardship on you with everything you do. Money, money, money. Okay. So when you are constantly not in balance with money, you're going to be out of balance with everything. It's going to be in everything that you do. It's how you treat people that have money, how you make your payments. If there's something you owe money to somebody and you decide that you're not going to pay, you made a promise and you said you're going to pay them on this day, and you pussyfoot around and you decided not to do it. Okay, you decided to kind of do that. That energy right there is coming back to visit you. I cannot. I just did a teaching with someone about money, breaking the old beliefs and the contracts with money. Break it. We have to break ourselves free from the old construct belief of money because that currency is changing. And when you start thinking that you don't deserve a certain amount of money, or you don't deserve this money, or you don't deserve that, blah blah blah, that shows up in everything that you do because it comes out of that lack and scarcity. And all of us have that marking on us, lack and scarcity. And the reason why we have it is because our mothers and fathers went through lack and scarcity, our grandparents went through lack and scarcity, our ancestors went through lack and scarcity. Because back in that time, if you really want to go all the way back, if you were a slave or you were just a peasant, you did not have the right to have money or have any of that. You didn't have the right to have that because you were owned or you were so poor you didn't have it. This is why anyone that is a client of mine, if I hear you say the words, "Oh, I'm so broke," or I'm cooking poor man's food today," I'm like, What did you just say?" Those are words you do not speak upon yourself, because when you speak it upon yourself, you keep that. You own that. We are powerful beings. The things we say and the things we think, we create, especially in this timeline that we're on now, this higher frequency. You're up on this higher frequency, you know what I'm talking about. You speak it into form when you say that upon yourself. Listen to how I say that. When you say that upon yourself, when you are in constant struggle with money. You're in constant struggle trying to figure out how you're going to get it. Da, 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 da. You're speaking it upon yourself. You can't be in that thought form. You have to break all of this energy belief around your car, around your money, because it's tied into your health, how you function health wise. So you have to break those constructs, those energy bonds, those strands. You actually have to deactivate those strands, neutralize them, transmute them, break the contract, break it all the way down. And if you want to go all the way back, go back as far as it all starts from the belief of not having and clear that. And then watch how things start changing when you no longer align yourself with that belief. And let me tell you, oh my gosh, until I really started doing the mother father clearing and the ancestral clearing through Spiral Light and started really clearing that out, I wasn't, beforehand, I was not seeing a change. I was constantly still getting jobs that weren't paying me what I was worth. I was constantly not always having the money and crazy stuff happening, you know, just always dealing with that. And it was always never enough. It was, or either just enough to get by, not enough to go spend or travel, just have just enough to get by. And that becomes such a hardship on your nervous system, on your well-being, because you always say, you get to the point you get tired of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't go out this weekend. I don't have enough to cover all of that." Or I don't have enough. And then you have people in your circle who are always covering financially for you because of the fact that they know what your financial status is. Okay. When they know your financial status and they treat you as what your financial belief of yourself is, you can't shift out of that until you literally really start working on yourself to break free of it. And when you break free of that lack and that lack mentality, it's a whole different ball of wax comes in. You have to already know you have it. You have to already know, treat yourself like money comes to you easily. You no longer struggle. You're not put on this planet to struggle. The constructs of what they put out here and how they put things together is to make you feel like you need to struggle and stuff, but it's really not about that. It's all about the energy of not allowing you to feel like you are to be struggling. You're not down here to struggle. You're really not. But if your thought process is the belief that, well, my mom and dad struggled all the time with money, I guess I will too. Yeah, then you're signing up for it. You're signing yourself up for that to be like that. You're signing yourself up for that to constantly have yourself in that energy. So the teaching today, I hope you take this to heart and really sit with yourself on how you're thinking about money, how you think about your cars. And here's another thing. Two things I want you to do if you get a car. I don't care if it's brand new or used. Smudge the hell out of it. Put some black tourmaline in your car. At least 3 to 4 pieces of nice big pieces. I'm not talking about little tiny pieces. Get your butt some big pieces of black tourmaline. Put it in your car. One in the back, one in the front, side doors. There you go. Have that black tourmaline in your car. It, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And drive with the divine white light around your vehicle so that you have that bubble around your car where you're going. Um, change how you're thinking about your money, how you're flowing with it, and what the belief is of it, so that you can always have exactly the right alignment and everything coming in. And if you don't have the money for something, do it anyway. Sign up for whatever it is, move, put things together however you want to do it anyway, and just know the money is on its way. You have to think in that fashion now. You cannot be thinking in lack. You cannot be staying in scarcity because all you're doing is creating more of it. And that's why some people get caught up in this perpetual loop and they never see anything come out of it because of the fact they're caught up in a loop and it keeps creating it. So you have to step out of it. All right, lovelies. I hope you got this teaching. I hope this works well for you. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers for being a part of the Be So Light tribe here. We put the light on ourselves and we shine our light bright and we go in and heal those things that don't need to be an issue with us. We just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Start living your true embodiment of your lifestyle. Start living from that and hold that truth to yourself. The times of all this unnecessary suffering and craziness, it's over. As long as you say it's over and you're ready for something new, the universe will give it to you. Something brand new, something good to do. All right, lovelies. Be good to yourself. I'll talk to you soon. We'll get ready for Sunday and start really being good to you. Much love. That's a wrap. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.